Hey, this is Matt once again. What about the videos? The paid request this time for Phil. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And I will get to them as soon as I can. I also have a second YouTube channel in case anything happens to this. Feel free to subscribe to that one. I also have an Odysee channel, which is a website that archives a lot of these videos. Feel free to follow me on that. All those links are down below in the info box. And this time I am reviewing Still Alice. This is the request for today from 2014, which I had never heard of this film. But it stars Julianne Moore, who I like as an actress. I think she's a pretty good actress. And she plays the professor of I can't even say it. Linguistics, which is ironic. It's about language and I can't speak it. But she's married to Alec Baldwin. They have 3 kids. One of them is Bosworth. The other is Kristen Stewart. And Kristen Stewart, she's someone trying to be an actress. And she gets along okay with her mom, but the mom's like, hey, I don't want you to spoil. Are you sure you really want to do this? You could do so much more. While Kate Bosworth is married and expecting a kid. Things seem to be going okay to well, but then she starts forgetting stuff. She'll forget some words during a lecture. She's out jogging, she forgets where she's at, she gets lost. And she goes to a doctor, and she comes to find out she has Alzheimer's, where you start losing your memory, and then it starts affecting speech. And that's the sad thing about Alzheimer's or other stuff, just how your brain is pretty much shutting down. And I will say that what made the film watchable was Julianne Moore's performance. And from what I understand, she won an Oscar for this performance. So that shows how much I follow the Oscars. I mean, this is a film that I never heard of, didn't know existed, but, the actress won an Oscar for her role. And Alzheimer's affects a lot of people. I mean, it even affected, I think Charles Bronson in his last years was affected by it. I think Charlton Heston as well. Like, quite a few known actors and actresses, among many other people. And you really see sort of the heartbreak of this woman who's vibrant and able to use her vocabulary, and just see how her eyes become more and more lost as her brain starts forgetting more and more. And she'll do these tests for memory. She gets mad at her husband, like, listen to me, it feels like my brain is fucking dying. She has a gene, and because it's a familial, it's a familial gene, so it could be passed on to kids. And she finds out, like, Kate Bosworth has the gene. Kristen Stewart doesn't do the test, just whatever happens, happens. It pretty much this sad downward spiral of this person that just, as it goes on, she's losing more and more of her cognizance. Whether at her teaching job, at one point she forgets where her phone's at, and it's found much later. Her and Alec Baldwin are at their vacation home, and she can't find where the bathroom is. And you really get a sense of the sadness, the anxiety, the turmoil, the befuddlement of just what she's going through. And just, you feel bad for her. And of the kids, you get a sense like the third kid is the son, he's pretty much a non-entity, which I thought that was kind of strange. Like, he was such a non-entity, I would forget that they had 3 kids. And Kate Bosworth, she's kind of there to give birth to her baby, and then Julianne Moore doesn't recognize the folks in the room during that sequence. It's mainly Kristen Stewart who becomes the most supportive. And I thought Kristen Stewart did a good job as well. I mean, even I would tag her badly because of the Twilight stuff. But you look at the Twilight stuff and you look at other projects, Robert Pattinson knocked out of the park in The Batman. And Kristen Stewart, she was actually pretty good in that film, Underwater. She's pretty good in this one. So it's not the actors, it's the project and the writing of that crap. And again, you get this sense of sadness, and there's nothing you do about it. It's inevitable. The inevitability of this situation that many people sadly go through and continue to go through. Because sadly, there is no cure for it. There's no cure for Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or MS or any of the stuff. And you wish there was. And you kind of would hope, like, charities are a good thing. But there's a party that's like, man, is anything going to come up out of this with all these charities? Is anything ever actually going to come up to fruition to stop this thing for good? I don't know. I guess that's the whole point, is to keep trying. Probably the most effective scene is that, spoiler alert, spoilers. Julianne Moore earlier had recorded this message that if you can't remember these tests, if you can't do these tests, open up this folder. It's pretty much guiding her future self into ending her life. With sleeping pills, take every one, lie down, go to bed, if you can no longer answer these personal questions. And there's one point, Julianne Moore accidentally opens this, and she's so out of it. And you can tell with her demeanor, her eyes, just, you see her younger self on video, and the contrast between her demeanor there and the demeanor here, I thought was pretty effective. And she's getting ready to do it, kind of going through the motions, but something happens, the pills drop, and then she forgets about it. But I definitely felt for her character. I mean, I guess you say there's not a whole lot of other stuff to the movie. But I guess, what else would you have for the movie? But it's pretty much just her having to accept this. This is all spoilers now. Alec Baldwin leaves her. I'm not going to get to the whole Alec Baldwin and the whole thing that happened. I do think he's a pretty decent actor. I do think he made some really, really, really egregious decisions of stupidity that ended with someone dying. I'll put it that way. Do I think he's a good actor? Yeah. I liked him in Beetlejuice and in other films as well. The speech he has with, what was that one film? With Bill Pullman, Malice. Like, I think Malice is a good... Mercury Rising, he played a good villain in full against Bruce Willis. Do I like him as a person? No. I do not. And like I said, you definitely feel he leaves her because he can't handle it anymore. Which I thought it was a bit confusing that Kristen Stewart hugs her dad. I mean, yeah, he says, "You don't be okay here. You know, you're a better man than me." I would think the dog would be a lot more angry. Like, who are you? Like, you're not gonna take care of our mom, and you're just gonna leave her. You're just gonna abandon her. I don't understand why there wouldn't be a lot more friction, a lot more anger, a lot more rage, a lot more, you wimp, you pussy, fuck you. I don't understand that. I guess different reactions, different strokes for different folks, but I would have been much more angry and upset and cursing and yelling and violent. Like, what the hell? You just gonna leave her? And what are you doing? And you wimp. And that's the way I look at it. So I thought Alec Baldwin kind of he got the easy way out, too easy of a way out. Again, the third kid, the guy's kind of a non-entity. So it just made me go, well, why do you even need three kids? And you might as well just say you have two kids. Why did you have this third kid that literally does nothing? What was the point? And the ending kind of just ends where Kristen Stewart has come to the home. She's going to be the caretaker of her mom. And like I said, Julianne Moore, when it gets to the third act and there's a bit with her and Alec Baldwin, Alice got to leave, and she's so vulnerable, like, I'm not done yet. Do we have to go? And Alec Baldwin's like, no, we don't have to go yet. And I think they're eating like yogurt or something. And like again, this the way she is at the beginning, the way she is at the end, you just really feel for the character. I do think Julianne Moore is the main reason to see the film. If you're all interested in this type of dramatic role, of course. And Kristen cares for her mom, and she reads the story. She asks her what was the meaning of it, and by this point, Julianne Moore can barely speak, and she barely says love, which maybe people feel a bit too sentimental, a bit too sanctimonious, Hallmark Channel. But the way Julianne Moore and Kristen Stewart played it, I thought they played it off fairly well. So there's not a whole lot of other stuff to really talk about with the film. There's really not. I mean, I guess you don't need any other drama, but like I said, I thought Alec Baldwin's character kind of got off a bit easily. You think there'd be more friction, at least with the kids. I also thought there'd be a bit of a subplot with like Kate Bosworth being mad at her mom because she shouldn't, because it's not her fault, but have this gene, and now maybe eventually I'm going to get it someday, and I guess that's meant to be inferred with the fact that it's Kristen Stewart that's going to take care of the mom. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't try to go into some type of friction drama where Kate Bosworth is being, how do I put it, passive aggressive. Maybe on one hand, maybe it's nice they didn't do that because maybe that would have been more predictable, a bit more. I don't know. Other than it's just Julianne Moore and Kristen Stewart did a good job. Other than that, it's kind of So I like the film. It's not a film I would ever rewatch again. I think Julianne Moore pulled it off fairly well. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of other stuff to talk about. The music was fine. I thought the music, especially the sweet parts of it, fit very well. And I mean, the ending, I mean, you couldn't pull like a Hollywood type of she gets better and she's tiered. You know, you can't do that type of thing. So, I mean, I would be interested to see what people who have folks who know Alzheimer's, what their thoughts would be on the film. Is there good representation? Is there bad representation? Is there more they could have done? Is there less they could have done? As is, you know, nice job with the film by Julianne Moore. I just see why she got the award recognition. Very nicely done. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.